to you by Johnson's Wax, makers of beautiful new Glade Mist that feels cool as it clears and freshens the air. Now let's all play What's My Line? And now from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, now starring on Broadway in Beekman Place, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now, just returned from a very successful European tour, the singin', swingin' Paul Anka.
Thank you, Eileen. And now the syndicated columnist, our friend, yours, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen. Dorothy?
Just back from the Middle West, where they simply adored him, as we do, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
Well, this has been a week of upheaval. Khrushchev has lost his job, Sir Alex Young, Yogi Berra, Johnny Keane. But there's one celebrity who's still ensconced in his perch, and he's got an honorary degree from Norwich University to boot. And that's our impresario, Johann Charles Daly.
Yeah, I must say I survived the week, which a lot of people didn't do, Bennett. Thank you for putting me in such excellent company for the most part. I must say it was a joy to go to Norwich, because when I was a youngster, I planned to go there. I was going to be in the class of 34, and I wound up in the class of 64 at Norwich, so that's pretty good. May I say, Paul Anka, it's nice to see you in the panel seat tonight.
Nice to be back again.
I think we've got something that will keep you on your toes for the next 25 minutes or so. We'll also have a famous mystery challenger before my friends in the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger after this message. And now to meet our first challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Mr. X. Well, needless to say, the panel will realize that we have said Mr. X for good and sufficient reason. I don't think we'll give them any more information. May I just present the panel, Mr. X, and will you join me over here? And we'll let the audience at home and the audience in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mr. X is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mr. X, do you have anything whatsoever to do with the entertainment world?
Yes.
Are you yourself a performer, Mr. X?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Anka.
I think I'll drop out. I think I know the gentleman.
All right, we thought that might happen, Paul. You'll disqualify yourself. And Miss Kilgallen?
I think.
Mr. Daly, Doctor, sir, did you tell us where Mr. X was from?
No, we decided we wouldn't because we felt that we wouldn't give you any information tonight, just to sharpen the taste of things a bit.
All right. You are connected with entertainment, but you are not a performer. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Would you like to say Mary Had a Little Lamb for me? No.
Yes.
Do.
Mary had a little lamb.
There you go. Now you know who it is, don't you?
You certainly.
He's the little lamb that Mary had.
Mr. X, do you travel under a passport other than a United States passport?
Yes.
Is it some type of British passport?
Yes.
Is it United Kingdom?
Yes.
Are you any type of booker or impresario?
Yes.
Do you Did you book Paul Anka's tour?
No.
No, that's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Sir.
What, Mr. X, did you have any association whatever with a very successful group of young men called the Beatles?
I quit. Mr. Barry Epstein, who is actually the
Impresario for the Beatles.
impresario, but more than that, the discoverer of the Beatles. Brought them first.
Together,
The creator.
The creator of them. It's an interesting story, which actually I probably shouldn't tell because you have a book coming out rather soon, I think, that tells this story of
Are there any moments, Mr. Epstein, when you feel a little sorry about the whole thing?
I don't think so, Bennett. As they might say here, I would think that Brian would very probably laugh all the way to the bank if he had any moments like that.
Which they're such darlings. They are so
They're-
sweet and funny and cute.
So there aren't any sorry moments now.
Yeah. But it's an interesting story. Actually, Mr. Epstein has got a book, A Cellar Full of Noise, which I think is a fine title for it. I don't want you to think that is any more than just an expression of an interesting title. But he was in Liverpool. You were directing a record shop.
That's right, yeah.
And somebody came in one day and asked for a record by this group he'd never heard of, and he was one of those who believes the customer is always right and should get some service, so he started inquiring about the group, found out they were in Liverpool, went down to a cellar, the cavern, right?
Yeah.
And there he found the Beatles, and of course the story from that point on is known to almost everybody, except that he tells it in a very personal way. I'm sorry that we didn't do better than we did,
No, we didn't.
Brian, but there we are. Mr. Anka disqualified himself, and we expected that, but I didn't think the others would move as quickly as they did. Nice to have you visiting us in the United States, and congratulations on your
Thank you very
remarkable
much
success.
indeed.
Good night. Well, you're off to a smashing start, panel. Let's see what we can do with the second challenger. Would you enter and sign in, please? Heather? Heather Reynolds. Right now? Excuse this, I have one of those fall colds. Is it Miss or Mrs. Reynolds?
Mrs.
Mrs. Reynolds, and where are you from, ma'am?
New York.
From New York. Fine, then may I present the panel, Mrs. Reynolds? And now would you join me over here, and we'll let the audience in the theater and at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Reynolds is self-employed and deals in a service. And we'll begin all with Bennett Cerf.
Mrs. Reynolds, do you perform your service for human beings rather than animals?
Well, I think if we say yes and just let it
Yes.
stand.
Are there some animals involved in some of the work that you do?
Yes.
Would the animals that are involved in your service be four-legged animals?
Correct.
Are they household pets?
Yes.
Are they in the dog family?
That's correct.
Bravo, Bennett.
Are they a particular breed of dogs that you specialize in?
No.
Oh, nope. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
You do something for human beings that is also helpful for the dogs. Is that correct?
That's right.
Do you sometimes walk the dogs that the human beings aren't able to take out?
Swinging the night.
Is that it?
Boy, it's a swinging night. It certainly is this. Heavenly days. Professional dog walker.
Turn them over, John, and she can give it to the Dog Society.
All right, there you go. They all go over there. Well, this is remarkable. I thought that in both instances here we'd give you a substantial degree of trouble. Actually, Mrs. Reynolds became self-employed as of today. She has been employed by another outfit that walk dogs. By golly, she's gone into business for herself beginning today. Walk a Dog is the name of your...
That's correct.
Your outfit.
Are you paid by the hour or by the style of the dog?
No, weekly.
Oh, you're paid weekly.
And it doesn't matter how big or how small.
You don't
all
get
the
two
same.
for the price of one if they're very
That's
small
correct.
dogs.
How many dogs at one time can you manipulate?
6.
6?
But they're friendly.
Yeah.
How often do you... how many do you take out normally if you're going on a walking?
6 usually.
6 at a time. How long do you walk them?
2 hours every day.
Where?
In Central Park.
Oh.
Where else?
Well, I know one young lady, considering what we read so much of in our papers, I know one young lady who's safe as a church in Central Park. She's got 6 dogs along with her. So, Mrs. Reynolds, much luck in your new business. And thanks for being with us. And we'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment. And now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which my colleagues are always blindfolded. As you know, the blindfolds are all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in this case, a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And we will begin it with Paul Anka.
Are you a male artist?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen?
I'm going to repeat a question to which I recently got a no on this program. Have you, within the last month or so, occupied the presidential suite at a Middle Western hotel?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Sir.
That's a great question.
You keep asking that question for the rest of the year, I guess. Are you a star in a motion picture that either is running in one of the big Broadway theaters or is about to open there?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you a performer in the theater?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Anka.
Are you a singer?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen.
Do you play supper clubs and nightclubs?
Yes.
Mr. Sir.
Have you got a gloriously beautiful wife who is also a performer?
No.
4 down. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you at the present time appearing in a club or a hotel in New York?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Anka.
In the past 6 months, were you on the popular record charts?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen.
Were you at the San Gennaro Festival this year?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Have you got a record at the present time in the top 15?
No.
7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you appear on television as a singer regularly?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Anka.
I know who it is.
Say it.
Have you? Is it Alan Sherman?
No. That's 9 down and 1 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, do you have a beautiful wife who is not a performer?
Yes.
I dare you to answer that one any other way. Mr. Cerf.
Do you also double as a comedian?
No.
That's 10 down and no more to go, and you all left your
Are
heart...
you? Wait a minute, huh?
Where? It's 10 down and no more to go.
Oh.
You got
Andy Williams?
stuck. You
Is
left your hearts in where? San
Tony
Francisco? Tony Bennett.
Tony
Right.
Bennett.
That's fun, sir. I told you we had a lot of tricky things done, and one of our tricks worked, because actually Tony is going to open in the Copacabana on Thursday night of this week, so we could say with perfect honesty that he was not in a club right now, you see.
All right, now why weren't you at the San Gennaro Festival?
I wish I was.
But I will remember, I don't know if you'll remember this, but Mrs. Daly and I were in San Francisco. It must have been, what, 3 Christmases or 4 Christmases ago?
That's right, at the Fairmont Hotel.
When you did I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
That was before I recorded the song.
Before you recorded it, I know, because we went that night and came out humming the tune, and then about 6 months later you recorded it, and it just took off like a bird.
That's right.
Well, you took off the panel, too, so that's fine. Thanks very much, Tony. Nice to have you with us, and nice to have you at the Copacabana. Well, you've done very well, panel, and I congratulate you. We'll have another contestant after this word. And now our final contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Grove. Thomas, right, sir? Good to see you. All right. Thomas, where are you from?
San Francisco, California.
From San Francisco, California. Well, you've come a long way. We just had somebody who made San Francisco famous again. May I present the panel? Mr. Thomas, and join me over here. We'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mr. Thomas is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Could I use your service?
Certainly.
Could Mr. Cerf?
Certainly.
You deal in human beings, then?
Certainly.
I like to think.
Thank you.
Do you deal in human beings to the exclusion of having much to do with animals or birds or anything like that? Do you deal with grown-ups more frequently than with children?
Yes.
Do you work indoors?
Yes.
Do you work in an enclosure which might be termed an office or a store?
No.
Nope. 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Sir.
May I ask if you work for a profit-making organization?
Certainly.
You do. Is it a corporation?
Yes.
Is it a rather large one?
No.
No, I don't think we can call it a large corporation. 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
You work for a small corporation, huh?
Small corporation. Now, let me note here that virtually every and any kind of business is incorporated, in one degree or another, so that you don't be misled by the term.
Is there anything about your work that requires keen sense of observation?
No, I don't.
No, I wouldn't think so. 3 down, 7 to go, Mr. Anker.
Mr. Thomas, would I go to you for this service?
Yes.
Could you as well come to me?
No, I don't think so.
Don't think so. 4 down, 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is the place to which we would have to go for your services, Mr. Thomas, and which is not an office or a store, is it nevertheless on the ground or in a building that is attached to the ground?
Yes.
You are not aloft or at sea?
No.
No, you're at sea. He's here.
Yes. When we came to you, would you do anything physical that we would witness?
Yes.
Would you do it by yourself rather than to me?
No.
Well, he wouldn't do it to you. I'm afraid we're running out of time, and I've got to get this in. Actually, if you'd really like to know what Mr. Thomas has done...
I would.
You'd just go down to your father's mustache in Greenwich Village. Mr. Thomas is a musician. He's a member of a group called the G-String Strugglers, and he plays a washboard with knives. I got it all right?
Huh? Your father's mustache.
And he plays the washboard with knives. Thanks very much, Mr. Thomas. We stuck him at least once.
I got the name of that.
The G-String Strugglers. how'd you like to work in a place and say, where you are, your father's mustache? That's pretty good. And on that happy note, Paul, Anka, nice again to have you with us, and good night, Miss Arlene French.
Good night, John. Take care of your doctorate, and good night, Paul. Stay in America now for a while.
I shall, Arlene. Good night. Good night, Dorothy.
Night, Paul. Come again soon. Good night, Dennis.
Thank you. Hold on to your job, John. And they're going like powder
Right.
today.
Wouldn't you know he owned his own company when you hear him talking that way to a poor hired hand like me? And thank you all for being with us on What's My Line.
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Al Sims speaking. If you'd like to attend one of our broadcasts, write to What's My Line, CBS Tickets, 485 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10022. What's My Line was brought to you by Crest. Crest, the toothpaste that's been clinically tested against cavities. The toothpaste for families that want fewer cavities.
CBS programs are pre-recorded today for broadcast in this time zone.